Hi, this is Paul Palmer. I've been asked several times about how to design a quality management system. So what do? Well, you look at the standards first. You look at the basic requirements, what's the minimum requirements. You look for the type of SOPs that you want to set up and start with the layout. How do you want to set your SOP up? So you need a header, you need a footer. What chapters do you want to put inside your SOP? And then to go with that, your first step of SOP should be your document control. So it's how you're going to issue SOPs. And then the next thing you really want to look at is training. How are you going to document your training based on that original SOP? Now, as you do each SOP, you should think about a template for future use for further SOPs, for the records that you're going to be generating. Then you want to consider, do you want to do it on paper or do you want to do it electronic? I'd always recommend electronic, but you always have to design the content first. You have to think about what's your business going to be doing, because it may be that you design an electronic system that's way overcomplicated for what your business does. If you've got a business that's so simple that you can do it in 20 SOPs, you should do so. You don't want to be loading up an electronic system that comes with a standard 50 SOPs and then find that you have to delete 20 of them. Now, that's being said, you then go through the rest of the basics. So change control, deviations, validation if you need it. The normal stuff that go into a quality management system. Now you might find that management review comes quite early on, and you could find that at the end of that, you've got everything you need. So you've got your layout, you've got your base level SOPs. If you then go electronic, you want to make sure that it aligns with what you want to do. Make sure you choose a system that's off the shelf, good enough, but also one that's easy to manage, not one that you're going to have to spend 3 hours every day keeping it up to date, or maybe employ a new person completely. Then, after you've done that, you want to look at your processes. Look at where you go from start to finish. Now, I always like to do a process map. So what I mean by that is a box, and then another box, and then another box, going through the individual steps that you take within your process. Now, once you've got a few boxes, you'll find that you've got, oh, you might have this choice or this choice. So then you use a diamond to break off different directions. And if you do that as a flowchart, then you'll find that you can actually design the requirements for your electronic quality management system or write the content for your SOPs quite easily. And with the flowcharts, you might find you want to break them down into 2 or 3 different steps, maybe 1 or 2 different SOPs, maybe a work instruction. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but once you actually understand what's needed, it makes it much easier to create the system. Then when you get to the end, what I like to do is to work backwards. So you've got to the end point. If you were at the end point and you're operating a product recall and you want to trace back through the process, can you do it? If you can't, then you need to look at what you need to do from the beginning through to the end to allow you to have that traceability. It's usually some sort of referencing system or maybe an ERP, which actually manages your stock. And then you need to look at how the SOPs relate into your ERP system. Then, of course, you need to consider suppliers. So once you've got your processes from end to end within your business, you need to look at where they start at the beginning before they come into your business and where they go at the end out of your business. So if you look at your suppliers, who's doing work for you? Who's providing goods for you? Now, once you've identified those, you need to think about how you're approving them to work within your system and look at the agreements that you want to put in place. Similarly, at the other end, with the customers, how do they work with you? What agreements do you need to put in place? What documentation maybe? Then, of course, there's the complication of being in the pharmaceutical industry. You've got to make sure they're eligible to do what you're doing. So both the suppliers and the customers need to be eligible to supply or receive what you're purchasing or selling. There you have it. You've got your QMS. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit more to it than that. But that's the basics. Hopefully that helps when you're considering what you need to do next. It's Paul Palmer. Thanks. Bye-bye.